In this video, we'll be learning how to implement WebGL using React 3 Fiber. So this is the project which we'll be building. So this is the model. I can click and drag and just look around. I can also change the color of the body, which is red, green, yellow, white. I could also change the skeleton of the model, which is red, green, yellow, or white. And here there's a buy now button. I won't be pressing this because there's a kind of a surprise for you. If you want to check it out, I'll leave the link to this project down the description below with the code as well. So let's get started. So here we are in VS Code right now. We are in the YT folder. So now let's start off by creating a Vite project with the npm create Vite add latest. Just give a dot because I wanted it to be in the same directory. We'll be using React TypeScript. Now let me install all the dependencies. So once that's done, should get a package lock.json file. Okay, so that's done. Then let me run the server to basically check whether everything is working. Okay, everything is working. Next, let us install Tailwind. So if I go here and just type Tailwind for Vite, Tailwind Vite. Here I'll go and copy these two lines, paste it right here. Then I'll go down, copy these 4 lines. The tailwind.config file, I'll replace this with what I just copied. Save that. Go to index.css and remove all this out and paste this. We don't need the app.css for this project. Then with that we've installed Tailwind. So then let's go to app.tsx and just remove all this junk. We don't need this. We'll clean out all this. Okay, and then let me just check whether our Tailwind is working by just giving a class name here. Let's say text red 500. I'll save that, go to terminal, run the server, and then I'll go to localhost 5173. I should get a red hello. Okay, good. So Vite is also not Vite, sorry. Tailwind is also installed. Next, let us actually install React 3 Fiber. So I'll go down here, npm install 3 and React 3 Fiber. So 2 dependencies, one is 3 and the other one is React 3 Fiber. I'll paste that here. We'll also need drei as helpers. So React 3 Fiber, I'll just go drei. Drei is basic. This dependency is basically helpers for React 3 Fibers. It's got many helpers which makes the process of building 3D applications very easy. We'll talk about it shortly. Let me paste that as well. I think with that all the dependency. Oh yeah, we'll also need valito. So if I go to valito state management, and don't worry, valito is not as difficult as Redux. It's a state management library basically, which helps us manage our states in React, but it is very simple. It doesn't require much knowledge. It's not like Redux where it's entirely its own concept. This is much more easier. We'll see this shortly. So let me install valito. So with that, all our dependencies we've created. Now we don't need this as of now. So now let's actually start creating our 3D application. So I'll delete that out, and here under source I'll go to folders and create a component folder, components, and in here I'll go new file and create a file called my canvas.tsx, rafc for the boilerplate. Save everything, don't need this, and instead of div here it should be canvas. If you have seen the previous video on 3JS, you know what canvas does. It basically tells React 3 Fiber that anything inside the canvas render the things out. So, you'll see this now. So just to check whether this is working, I'll create a mesh. Again, if you've not seen the 3JS video, I highly recommend that. In that I go over what mesh is, what geometries is, all that. Let me create a geometry. This is just to check whether our React 3 Fiber is working. I'll just create a box geometry here. Box geometry and just a basic mesh, basic material. So in order to use React 3 Fiber, you'll need to know at least the basics of 3JS, like the shadows, the geometries, what are materials. You can check the previous video for that, for all that info. So let me run the server again. If I go to localhost 5173, no utility class, we'll just leave that for now. I'll refresh everything, open DevTools. Am I getting an error? Nothing. Okay. What I'll do is I'll go here and I'll just render out the screen, H screen. Still not getting anything. Okay, that's because I haven't actually brought in this my canvas inside the app. So let's do that now. So my canvas, and I'll save that. We have our box which we just created. Now let us start. We'll bring in the model. So if you want a model, you can go to sketchfab.com, and in here there are a bunch of 3D models. So if I go here, downloadable, and just click on robot, you get all these, and some of these are paid and some of them are free. So if I go here, click this, I just click on download 3D model, and you need this one, GLB format. Just download that and import it to your public folder. So I've already have a 3D model with me. It's in downloads if I remember correctly. Yeah, this one. So I'll just bring this under the public folder. We don't need the Vite one, Vite file. Right here, I'll go in here and put it in the public folder. Okay. So now let us create a folder for the drone, not a folder, a file, sorry, a component. So under components, create a new file, drone.tsx rafc, save that. For now I'll show you what happens if I give a div inside a canvas. So here I'll go and bring in the drone, close it, save it. the bunch of errors I'm getting. That's because you cannot have HTML in a canvas. In order to do that, you could use a helper from Drei. So if I go to Drei React, if I go here, star them because they deserve it. They've created a really helpful repository for us. So in here, if I go and search for HTML, you'll have to, if you want to give HTML inside the canvas, you'll have to wrap it around their HTML components which they provide us with. So okay, we won't be doing that. We'll be actually using an overlay that comes later in the video, so we don't need that for now. I'll delete this. Now to bring in the model, we have something called, one second, const model is equal to use gltf. So this basically loads the model for us from this file and puts it into this constant right here. So I'll have to give it the path. So here slash drone.glb. I'll save that. And if you're wondering why it's just slash and not public, when anything which you provide inside the public folder, require to mention whether it's in the public folder, because automatically it's like built that way that if you mention drone, anything here, like for example, if I go here and I go drone.glb, the browser automatically knows that this file is there. So you don't have to mention the public slash drone.glb. Okay, so let me console log out the model to see whether everything is loaded properly. If I go here and I save this, I'm not getting anything. Let me refresh it. It is not part. Okay, so instead of this div, I'll give null. Okay, see, now I'm getting the model here, the properties of the model. So now to bring the model into our canvas, what we could do is, the easy way would be to use something called a primitive, and inside here object model dot scene. Save that and I have it here. Okay, so in order, it's black and white for now, because if I go here, I'll just bring in the orbit controls. This will allow us to move around. If I save that, I can move it, and it's basically right now it's black and white because there's no light in here. Again, if you if you want to know why we need lights and all, check out the other video. But here we'll be using ambient light, and if I save this now, we have the coloring for our model right here. Ambient light is basically, it lights up everything uniformly for us. Anything inside the canvas is uniformly lighted up. So if I would have used something called point light, which is basically like a torch, only a part of right now, if I'll change the position. So if you want to give a, if you want to change the position, you can use position, give an array, let's say 1 1 1. So it's basically 1 unit from x-axis, 1 unit on the y-axis, and 1 unit on the z-axis. If I save that, it's getting lighted up that way. Again, not you, Siri. Okay. Okay, let me bring it little out 3. Now it's getting lighted up. Little, we are bringing the torch basically towards us. That's the z-axis. Anyway, we'll be using ambient light. So ambient light lights everything up. Save that. Okay, so we have our drone with us. But the problem with this approach is when we are using primitive, we are not able to individually, like for example, this primitive contains everything together, like the body, the legs, the helmet, everything. So if you want to change some properties of a specific body part, we are not able to do that. So in order to do that, we'll have to break it into smaller parts. So let us do that now. So instead of using this approach, because we want to towards the end, what we want to do is we want to change the color of a specific body part, right? So in order to do that, we are using this approach. So before that, let me create a type definition for what we'll be needing. So here, all this I'll have to give now. So for that, this is basically for TypeScript typings.d.ts. So in here, let me copy this up. So here, what I'll do is export. I'll create a type drone gltf, and we'll have an intersection. So plus these properties. So we care about only the nodes for now. So nodes is basically the geometries. So here, if I go here, nodes, these are all the different body parts. The name is kind of off, that won't be a problem. So p cube 43 will be of type 3 dot mesh. Okay, so I'm copying basically this one, p cube 43. I've already built this project, that's why I know, like I individually I brought in. So here what I did was I went mesh, and for the geometry I put like say, yeah, let's bring in this one. Yeah, p cube 43 dot, yeah, I'm not getting the intel essence or something. Anyway, I'll show you. Let me first create the type definitions, then I'll show you what these body parts are. I basically tried it out beforehand, like what each body part is. So I think this is the skull maybe. So then next we need is the black glass. Next here, I'll go here, 3 dot mesh. Don't need that. Let me just copy this out. P cube. Then it's P cube metal shiny. Oops. Can't. Okay. Bring it here. P cube metal 0. TypeScript basically, like this initial part might look a lot of work, but trust me, this helps a lot, because when you won't know the properties correct name when you're bringing it in the canvas. You're bound to make mistakes. So if we go through this now, we won't have issues later. So let me check whether that's all we need. No, I think we need 2 more. So this is Lamba 04 and ice. Okay, so that's basically it for the geometry. That's the geometry. Now for the materials. And if you want to create your own models, you could use a 3D software such as Blender if you know how to use it, but I'm not that good with Blender. I do know how to use the basics. I can get around things, but I'm not very good at it. So that's why I'm using the one from Sketchfab. So this will be of type mesh standard material. So mesh standard material, I'll copy this out and basically copy this. And mesh standard material is basically gives us a realistic render. Basic material is a material which can be used without any lighting because it's a basic and it doesn't look very appealing as well. But standard material does require lighting, but the final product is very realistic. That's why this is the most popular material. So here Lombard 1, Lombard 4, and if you are creating your own model, you like while creating the model in Blender, for example, you can rename this. Like you while creating, you can rename this to much more meaningful names, but the author of this hasn't. He's only mentioned some of the names. So Lombard 1, 4. Okay, so with that, all our type definitions is done. Now we don't have to worry about that. Okay, so now let's destructure nodes and materials from use GLTF, and we'll also give it a type definition which we just created. So let's mention it here, drone.gltf. I'll just import this just in case. Okay, it's already imported. So now here, if I go and create a mesh and mention geometry, nodes dot, okay, my IntelliSense is now working. I think that's probably because I broke something, but the it's not giving me any errors, so I don't think there'll be a if you are doing this in your PC, this should work, but here for some reason I don't know why it's working. Anyway, I'll just go here and paste it here, and this will be dot geometry, and this will be p cubes. Go here and I'll use this one, copy this, paste it right here, and for the material it will be materials dot and metal shiny. See everything. Okay, so we are getting here something. Have I imported the ambient light? Okay, so this is basically the helmet which we have right here. Next, we'll have to now bring in the individual body parts. So I'll copy some and just change some properties here. So this will be pcube43 metal shiny. I don't know why my TypeScript is not helping me out here, because while creating this everything was working. For some reason now the type definitions are not popping up. So anyway, actually this will be black glass material. Hopefully while you're creating yours it works, but here it's not working. So okay, that's done. I'll comment this out. Okay, I'll delete that or whatever. So that's basically the body. Materials, metal shiny. Okay, next we have a couple of more body parts. So next is the metal 0, and this will be materials of type metal. I think there's something added there. Next is p cube, water, metal is done. Next is, I think it's rubber 0, and this will be materials rubber, and I'll save that. This is basically this part. Next, what do I have to remain? Rubber Lombard. Okay. I'll copy this out again, paste it here, 2 more. This is metal rubber, and this is metal rubber, and next is Lombard. So Lombard 1, _0, and this will be of materials Lombard 1. Yeah, I'll paste that there. Okay, it's undefined. This always happens when I'm recording. For some reason, something something or the other breaks. Okay. Anyway, okay. So we have something coming up here now. Good. Instead of now, next is we've Lombard 1 is done. I think it's 4O, and the materials will be of type Lombard. Instead of just, I'll just look up here and paste it here. Okay, cool. One more. So next is, I think, the eyes, which is this one. Copy that, paste it here, and this will be here, this, and this will be here. Okay. So with that, we've done. We've got a model here, as you can see. If I paste, okay, I'll refresh this. Okay, right now it's a little too big, so in order to reduce the size, what we can do is we can basically group all of this mesh into one with a group tag, and inside here I'll say scale 0.6. Okay, now it's much smaller. Okay, now let's create some like lighting effects and all that, so that appears more realistic. So I'll go back to my canvas, and here let me, okay, if I go to drei, if I'm saying it correctly, and go to something called, search for it, environments. Okay. So this basically gives us a what can I say, some configuration. Like this tag basically does all the lighting for us if we use this, like, and we have, I think, 4 built-in ones. So if I go here, you can see some cool effects with this tag. It basically gives us some what can I say, shine, the lighting, some shadows. No, I don't think that it gives us shadows. You can see this shiny kind of effect that is provided us with the environment tag. Yeah, so we'll be bringing this tag now. So I will close this, and I'll be using this. So this is from, I'll bring it right under the drone. So environment, and you'll have to mention few things. So there's some presets which is there. So if you go to city, okay, so these are some presets which are available for us. All these on park. Let's try some out, and I'll just show you what it is. So if I resize this. And okay, so preset, let's say sunset. Did you just see that there's some difference with the shine and all? I'll remove that once again just for you to see. Like this, it's kind of like there's not much realistic look to it. Now I go to environment, preset, and I give city, which is another one of the built-in ones. See, there's some shininess towards it, so we'll be using sunset. So there are a bunch of them, all of them have some different kind of lighting. Let's try studio out. Yeah, studio is a little different. For this case, in our case, we'll use sunset, and I'll use background also as a tag. Background. Now you can see the background here, so we don't need that. It's fine. So our environment is done. Next, what we'll do is and I'll give some other properties. Blur 1, background. Okay, that's much better. So if I remove the blur property from here, you can see the actual background being rendered out. So we don't want that background. It looks kind of weird. A bot floating around. So we'll blur it out. Okay, that's fine. So our environment is done. Next, what we'll do is let's have a shadow here, so that appears a little more realistic. So again, if you want shadows, Drei provides us with the shadows. So here, if I go and let's just search for it, because I'm being lazy. Shadow, contact shadows. Okay. There's other shadows as well, but we'll be using contact shadow. So here under, let's say, drone again, contact shadows, close the tag here. If I save, nothing pops up. Okay, something pops up. Let's have this a little more down. So then position, let's say 0, -0.8 and 0. So it'll be slightly lower. Fine. Then what we'll do is we'll change the opacity of it. We'll keep it to 1, so it's clear. Then a little bit of a blur effect, 0.8. Okay, that's done. Next, what I'll do is I'll go to drone again, and I want shadows to appear inside of it. Right now there's nothing here. Like, the helmet should cast a shadow on its body a little bit. So in order to do that, what you'll do is go to group. No, before that, go to my canvas. You'll have to say to the canvas that shadows should be allowed. So shadows, just provide this tag shadows, and the canvas will know that shadows is allowed in the body. So I'll save that. Now here inside the group, I'll say cast shadow, and here inside each mesh I'll say cast shadow, which basically means give shadow and receive shadow. I'll paste this all here. So each body part will cast and receive shadow. I'll save that. Okay. So hopefully you can see some difference here. It's not much, but there's a slight difference. So now let's go back to canvas and see. When I refresh, the camera is positioned in such a way, like I'm looking at it under and from the sideways. I want it to look from the forward way. So in order to do that, what I can do is go to canvas and say to it the camera. In the camera object, go to the position, and inside there I can mention the XYZ attribute. So in my case it's 6.9. I already know this values as I've already created it. So 99136497504 that's the X. Then it's 2.1982302526669, and I'll show you how I got these values in a moment. -7.993475110057. It's almost like a number. It is a number. I'll say that. Now if I refresh this, okay, now the camera is positioned accordingly. So if you're wondering how I got this number, if I go to drone and go to const and destructure camera from use 3. Okay, then what I did was I console log out the camera dot position. I'll just show you the first what we get. So if I console log out the camera, open my DevTools, these are the properties of the camera. So here I have something called position. See here, right here, this is what I get. So if I call in that property for position, hit save, and let me, so now I'm getting the values. So what I did was I basically positioned the camera where I wanted it to be. So I wanted it to be somewhere here. Then I came here, hit save, and I got those values and I pasted it in the canvas. That's how I got the positions. You could also use a debugging tool like what is it called? There's a debug for this. I think it is called Leva or something. Yeah, there's a debug tool for React 3 Fiber. Debug for React 3 Fiber. I think it's called Leva. Something called use controls React 3 Fiber. I'm not able to find it out right now. Anyway, I'll just pop it out here in the screen. Can't remember it now off the top of my head. Okay, so we've done our camera position. Our render is done. Next, what we have? Okay, let's make this float a bit. So in order for us to do that, again Drei provides us with a helper called float, and if I paste it here, it starts floating. So if I go here and search for float, this one, we have a bunch of properties here. Let's copy some of those and paste it here. What do I do? Okay, I copied everything. I'm such silly mistakes sometimes. Okay, now, okay, good. So now if I save everything, this is going way up because here there's a range. So this basically says from a unit of 1 in the y-axis to 10. That's too much. So let's say we want it to flow from 0 to 0.5, and the float intensity will change to 2, and the rotation intensity again to 2, and speed also to 2. save that. Okay, that's much better. So that's done. So let me just check whether we've done everything. Environment, float, ambient light, orbit control scans. So with that, we've basically done the model part of our project. Next, what we'll do is we'll create a color picker for this. Like if you want this dog, I don't know whether it's a dog, but yeah, whatever, dog, to match your furniture, say, uh, we can have different colors for it. So let's do that. So then here I'll go and create and see overlay.tsx rafc. So in here let's give it some styling. So let's say let's have a section here, section, and inside the section we'll have h1 is called Tavish Labs dot and a p tag log1. Hopefully that's not too big. Next again I have a h1, say match your furniture, and we haven't created this, but we'll have a color picker here, and we'll also need a button saying buy now. I'll save everything. Nothing comes up here because I have not brought in the overlay. So in the app component I'll bring here overlay. I'll save that. Now it's here. Let's absolutely position this inside the canvas. So to do that, let's give it some stylings. So here, class name absolute top 20%, and from the left will be 32, and z index of 10 I want it to be hidden, and only in the large screen I want it to appear as block. Okay, so it's not coming up here. If I expand, okay, it's coming up. It's good. Next, what I'll do is my PC is throttling right now, so for now what I'll do is I'll just comment this out. Okay, it's fine. As I'm recording and rendering out such a expensive render, it's taking a lot from my PC. That's why I'll just comment this out so that throttles less, basically. Let me go to overlay again. Let's style this out. So h1 class name, I want it to be size 5XL, and let's make it bold, and it will be black in color, and let's have the spacing. Save this for now. Now let's space the space in between these individual letters. Let's widen it up a bit. So tracking widest. Okay, so with that our heading is done. Next is our p tag. Let's have large text gray 700, and margin top of 2. Save that. Be hidden by default and only in the small viewpoint block, and have a width of 500 pixels. Okay, next is match your furniture with the text 4XL. That seems a bit match your furniture for your dog. That's oof, that feels a little bit sad. Font bold, nt 10, margin top of 10, and it'll be uppercase. All will be uppercase. Match your furniture. Fine. Button, class name, padding of 2. We have a border, rounded borders, LG. Man, Tailwind has spoiled CSS for me. it's made CSS so easy, because before I used to spend hours just styling it, and now because of Tailwind it's much more easier. I kinda go into the zen mode when I'm typing CSS. I just put on some music and start styling. All the artistic vibes come out. Okay, anyway, next let us create this color picker component. So under components, new file, color picker .tsx rafc, and here, okay, and I'll bring it here. So color picker. Fine. Now what we have to do is, so valito state management. It's a proxy state management, fancy word. I don't quite understand it, but whatever. So what we'll have to do is, for valito, under source we'll create a global store. So here basically we'll make changes to our the different body parts. We'll just I'll show you what I mean. So if I go to store, and then here I'll import proxy from valito. We don't need to use snapshot. Okay, so next what we'll need is, we'll have to create a store. So copy this, paste it here, export const store proxy. We don't have a type definition here. What we'll have is only items. Let's say items, and let's not have this. And here items will be of type colors. I have to create a type for colors. Okay, first let me actually start mentioning the different. We'll have a body which will be initially null, and we'll have a skeleton. We'll be only using 2 of these. Like if you're planning to expand on this project, you could change the different body parts, but we'll be using only, I think, body and skeleton. So feet, neck, and eyes. I'm getting a huge error. That's because I'll have to pick the type for body, which will be a string or null. I'll copy this, and instead of body we'll have skeleton. We'll have feet, we'll have neck, and we'll have eyes. Did the errors go? No, it did not. Okay, that's to be expected. Export const store proxy items. Why is this? Save that. What is it saying? Argument of type body null, but I've given Okay, it's basically because this skeleton misspelled this. Okay, so with that we've configured our store. Let me close that now. Go to my color picker. No, actually let me show you how it works. So if I go to drone, and here if I want to use that the colors, so is it still running? Fine. Let's say I'll go to their docs here. So here, so if you want to use the values from the store, what you can do is use const snap, call in the use snapshot, so snapshot from valito, and you give it the store which we just created, store. Save that. Now here we have all the values of the store in here. So if I hover here, I have all the values. So now if I want to change individual color, so before that I'll have to uncomment this out. Hopefully my PC can take this. Actually it's not a PC, it's a laptop, whatever. I'll minimize this. Where was I lost myself. Delete all that, close it. Okay, snap. So now I'll open my store, and for now I'll change the body to purple, just so that you can see the change happening. Purple. Save that. Go back to drone, and here if I want to change the color of a specific body part, I go in here and say material color and say snap dot items dot body. Okay, it was not the body, it was the helmet. Anyway, this, you can see there's a different change here. So if I change this to say I make this to green, it becomes green. So that's basically how valito works. Very easy, not much to do because our use case is very small. Let's save that, and we won't be using the store here, we'll be using it in our color picker. No, actually we actually need it here. What am I doing? Snap. This will be snap dot items dot, this will be body. Fine, I'll copy this out right here, and this will be skeleton. This will be skeleton. This will be the neck, and the neck. This will be the feet, and this will be the body again. We'll have the numbered 4. This will have this, and we can change the eyes also. So material color, will be snap dot items dot eyes. This will be, save that. Okay, let me just show you something here. So if I make this to purple, this is the eyes, purple. Save that. I'm gonna refresh that. As you can see, the color is not changing. That's because while the author, while creating this model, it has something to do with materials. So what I found out was, if I comment the materials, I delete this out, and instead of giving the mesh as a standard material, I can give it as a basic material. So mesh basic material, and if I close it now, I can change the color of the eyes. As since this is just the eyes, using basic materials we won't find much of a change because it's just a small part of the model. That's why we don't need the materials here if you want to change the color of the eyes. Okay, so for now let me make this null again. Save all that, refresh this, nothing has changed. So now let me go back to my canvas again. I'll just comment this out. You don't have to comment it out, I just don't want my laptop to fry itself. So now here, color picker, let's have some colors here. So in order to do that, what I'll do is div, inside this will have another div, inside this will have a drone part. So this will come, this called part, body part, and we'll have a span here, and in this span let's have class name h6 w6 bg background of red 500 rounded full. Let's save that, nothing comes up, okay, no problem. Inline flex, and let me say cursor pointer, save. Okay, why is it's not rounded? rounded. Okay, so now we have this. So one of the color is done, so we'll have to repeat this. Let's actually have a on click here also. On click console dot log click. Okay. We'll have a few colors, so I'll copy this out, paste it here, just change the color. So this will be green, this will be yellow, this will be white. 500 is not needed. Here we have something, this will be green, so now let's just move them apart a bit. Class name flex, gap of 5, margin top of 2, and items center. Save that. For h1 we'll have text large, text of gray 800. I know my styling is not that good right now. I'm not a very good designer. I can get things done, but if you leave the creativity to me, I would just make everything just bright, whatever. So with that we've done. Now let's just customize this a little bit. So if I go to not canvas, where was I? Overlay, and here say the color picker, what I can do is I could, what should I call it? Let's call it drone part and say outer, and I'm getting an error here because here I have to mention the drone part. So if I go in here and mention drone part, I have to mention the type also. So drone part will be a string. Save everything, no errors, good, and change this to drone part. Okay, outer. I'll have another one which will be inner, and hit save. Okay. Now what I can do is I can create a function called change color, and I'll give it a, I don't need to give it that. Go in here and create a switch statement, and give it the drone part, and inside here will be curly brace case. If it is outer, what I want you to do is, the colon is not here, it's here. Go to store, go to, I have to import this, store dot items dot body is equal to, change it to color, which I have not created. Okay, so let me copy this again, we'll resolve this error. So actually I'll have to break it also. To break, copy, paste, inner, and here I'll give it a color, will be a string, and save everything. Now all that remains is to call this function. So from this, change color to red, and here also change color to green, change color to yellow, and here to white. Save everything. With that, I guess everything is done. So if I go to drone, okay, I'll have to uncomment it out. Let's try, fingers crossed. Expand this and let's see whether it works. Okay, red outer, green, yellow, white inside the body. Something's off, so this also changes. Both are same. Let me go back. Color picker, inner. Okay, this should be not the body, it should be the skeleton. Now it's right. Okay, now it's changing. As you can see here, we are able to change the skeleton. Okay. So if you want, you could do the same thing, say for if you wanted the eyes to change. So in here, if I go to overlay and make another, say for eyes, and save it, go here, make another case for eyes, and give eyes, save it. I can change the eyes now. This is pretty cool. Anyway, I don't want to change the eyes because I think the default one looks nice. So with that, we've built this. I'll just remove this out, save it. I just want outer and inner. Is it not going? Okay, that's because we don't want this. You could do that same for the other body parts like the feet, the neck, the eyes. But for me, I'll stick with just the two of these. So with that, we've successfully built our 3D website. Hopefully this gives you a basic understanding on what React 3 Fiber is and how you can build cool looking websites. And if that background noise has been a bother to you, I'm sorry. That's just the laptop throttling, because like whenever I'm working with the with React 3 Fiber, it needs a lot of memory, and on top of that I'm also recording. That's why the laptop's throttling. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching.